When we talk of a divine from a pure Upanishadic and Gita sense, in fact, divine is not some heavenly figure sitting on a throne somewhere, having an inbox in front of him or her, looking at all the different requests you keep sending or the prayers you keep offering and answering it one by one based on some criteria. That's not how the Gita, the Upanishadic divine definition is. In fact, divine is defined more, think about it as this form of energy. It is actually defined more in terms of attributes and characteristics of what makes up a divine. Visualize like a ball of energy that has all the powers pretty much, or has different characteristics, because powers can be misunderstood. It could mean, well, if there's all the powers, why do bad things happen to good people, as an example? That's really not how we got to look at the divine. Instead, the divine should be looked at more as the set of all attributes and characteristics that are in this ball of energy. In that sense, you could say there are two types of energies. One could be called the material energy, which is how Gita defines it, the material energy, and the other could be the substance or the soul of this universe, of this cosmic universe. And that in many ways could be called as the other type of energy. For now, let's just call it the superior energy. So you could call it the material or the inferior energy, and you could call it the superior or the soul energy. You can, for our easy understanding, you can make a distinction in that way. Now, the Gita gives a definition of this energy. The Gita says there's 8 fundamental components that form the substance or the foundation layer of the entire cosmic universe. And what are those 8? They are earth, water, fire, air, space, mind, intellect, and I. Earth, water, fire, air, space, mind, intellect, and I. So this basically forms the substance or the foundational layer of everything out there in this cosmic universe. Different combinations of these fundamental elements or the components of it give rise to emotions. And the Gita, in that sense, defines 20 different emotions that arise out of these fundamental 8 components. And the 20 different emotions essentially span the entire gamut of what you go through on a daily basis. As an example, it is the ability to analyze things in their proper perspective, ability to discriminate between what is divine, what is spiritual, with what is material. Essentially, what makes up this universe, that ability to discriminate. It is the ability to derive and decide in a state of confusion, having that capability. Now, some may have more of it, some may have less about it. But the point here being, all of that is part of this definition of divinity. It's the ability of forgiveness, compassion. It is the veracity to be truthful, to be honest. It is the means and the mechanism to restrain our senses and be in control, get your prefrontal cortex to be working more than just the limbic system at the back of the brain. So it is that ability. It is the ability of managing sorrow and affliction, managing joy and delight. It is the experience of death. It is the ability to manage fear and overcoming difficulties. So there's a whole list of 20 different emotions that the Gita provides that emanate, that stem out of this 8 fundamental substance components, which is called dravya in the Gita. So out of this 8, the 20 different emotions arise there. Now, when you package all of this, the 8 fundamental elements or the 8 fundamental components and the 20 different emotions and the permutations and the combinations of them, which could lead into an infinite number of permutations, combinations, when you package all of that, now, if you were to put a box around it, now you could say, hey, a divine means an entity that has all of this as its fundamental nature. And when that entity is all encompassing, even though I'm putting a box around it, it's essentially infinite because there's so many permutations and combinations that can arise out of all these combinations. When you package that together, that becomes the divine, or you can call it the supreme. That entity, you can call it the supreme, which is why in the Gita and the Upanishad, it's called Divya. Divya meaning divinity, divine, supreme is what it is.